Where did you hear this story? Was it a headline? A viral video? A whisper passed around in quiet frustration? Tell me in the comments. Because stories like this one don't always make it to the evening news. It all started with a business trip. Kenneth Willis, a calm, sharply dressed man in his late 40s, stepped into a small regional bank branch in Austin, Texas. He had just landed from New York that morning. His time was limited. He had one task: to verify account credentials and authorize a wire transfer for an upcoming partnership. That partnership? A $3 billion logistics infrastructure deal. One that was about to change the entire shipping industry across 3 continents. Kenneth wasn't just a representative. He was the CEO. His quiet demeanor, the kind of calm confidence that comes from decades of experience, should have been enough. But inside that quiet lobby, what happened next said more about society than it did about finance. He stepped up to the counter, documents in hand. Passport, driver's license, company credentials, everything the bank would need. The teller, a young woman with sharp features and a visible impatience in her tone, looked him over, her eyes flickering between his face and the ID in her hand. She frowned. "This doesn't look like you." Kenneth stayed calm. "It's me. That photo's from 4 years ago." She held the ID up to the light, turned it back toward him, then looked again. "What company did you say you were with?" "Willis Global," he said. "CEO." "That's when it happened." The teller scoffed. Audibly, she didn't say a word. She simply tossed the ID. Not handed, tossed. It landed near his feet on the cold tile floor. Silence filled the air. 2 people in the line behind him looked up. One woman gasped. Kenneth slowly bent down, picked up the ID, and stood straight again. He asked, calmly, "Is there a manager I can speak with?" The teller didn't move. "You can call customer service." He stared at her for a long moment, then quietly turned, walked to the seating area, and made a call. But it wasn't to customer service. It was to the chairman of the board of the very bank whose branch he was standing in. Because what that teller didn't know was this: the $3 billion partnership his company was closing. It involved 3 major logistics companies, 2 government infrastructure initiatives, and this very bank. This branch had been selected for long-term expansion in that new deal. Within an hour, the regional director of the bank showed up, red-faced, apologizing profusely. But Kenneth wasn't angry. He was composed. He simply said, "This is not about me. This is about how many people have been treated like this without anyone showing up after the fact." That night, back at the hotel, he made a decision. The partnership would continue. The infrastructure would proceed. But not with this bank. Emails were sent. Funds were rerouted. And that $3 billion deal moved to a different financial partner. One that welcomed Kenneth with a handshake, not suspicion. The teller was terminated. The bank released a quiet statement. But Kenneth never made a public comment. No press conferences. No social media rants. Just silence. Because sometimes, power doesn't yell. It doesn't threaten. It doesn't make noise. Sometimes, power just walks away and takes $3 billion with it. What would you have done in that moment? Would you have stayed silent? Or spoken up? Let us know in the comments. Because stories like this need to be seen, shared, and remembered, not because they shock us, but because they show us who we still are and who we have yet to become.